Hi, I'm George, TSG's Open Content Product Manager. In this short demo, I'm going to compare how search works in both Alfresco Share and Open Content Management Suite. So here I am in Share and I'm in the dashboard. And one thing Share has is in the search header or in the header, there's always this persistent quick search bar. Essentially, I can just type in here and start typing, and then this is going to run a search across everything in the repository. And one thing that you can't do is narrow this down to certain types or, based on metadata or something like that. So this can be slow in very large environments and usually results in too many results coming back, too many items in the search results. So it can be hard for the user to narrow down. So a lot of times in these types of search interfaces, the users would go to the advanced search, which I'll go ahead and show here. And another thing that's very apparent here is it really, again, doesn't allow me to narrow down beyond searching for content or searching for folders. So if I've configured, my own document types with metadata beyond some XML configurations that we talk about in the blog post, I really can't configure anything here to search against those. So this can be kind of limited when working with specific types and metadata. And we'll get into the search results in a moment, but another thing you notice here is there's no way for me to execute a save search or to fill out the criteria here and save it as a search that I can run later. So now I'm going to head over to Open Content Management Suite and our Open Content Search module. And the first thing that you're going to notice is that this interface is very dependent on types and specific metadata. So here I'm in what we call our underwriting track and looking for policy. And I can search on things like the policy number, policy year. I can have a drop down for the policy type that I'm looking for, and this will allow me to just start typing values in there. And the administrator configures what the user can search on, and whether a field is a dropdown or whatever else, and we can configure certain fields to come by here, as well as what can appear below this fold here. We can also do kind of advanced searching. So rather than only searching on a date range, which we can do with this type of control, we can also search on what we call a proximity date, which is meaning in proximity to today. So here I can search for policies with an expiration date, let's say in the next 3 days, weeks, or months. So the administrator can configure multiple types within a track. So here I can change to look for policy documents. And you can see here that the form changes based on the admin configuration. And of course, we can have multiple tracks where, I can switch to a different track. And now I'm looking for a totally different set of document types. And again, we can apply security to this so that, maybe a user comes in and they only see one type or they only see certain tracks or certain types to search on. And we do have the ability to save a search. So I can come in here and see the searches that I've recently or that I have saved. We also have the concept of public save searches that would take effect and display for every user in the system that has access to this track. And it's very easy to save new searches. So say I want to save a search for documents that are pending approval. Let's say a TSG document, so document number containing TSG that are pending approval. And then I can just click this plus and then give it a name. And go ahead and save it. And then now it'll appear in the list. So now I'm going to switch back to Share and show how the search results works. So I'm just going to go ahead and run a search through the header here just to get a bunch of results. And there we go. You can see I got 131 search results here. Now, the biggest item missing in this interface really is around kind of what we were talking about before with the criteria, really is around if you've configured specific types and metadata. I have this bar over here to filter down certain field types, but all of these are kind of generic attributes, not specific things like we saw in OCMS, like, for example, a policy type or something like that. So I do have the ability to see my results in sort of this list-based format with a little thumbnail there. If I come over here, I can change the sort. And again, here, this is just out-of-the-box metadata. Um, and I can change from a detailed view to more of a gallery view, which shows thumbnails in a larger way. So while we do have this ability to facet on these fields, it can be hard to find what I'm looking for if there's many results. So if a lot of results come back, Share will paginate based on infinite scroll, meaning as I scroll down, more results are added to this list as I scroll. So while that's kind of nice from an interface perspective, if something I'm looking for is off this page, there's really no way for me to find it without just, continuing to scroll down. Unless I can find it over here, that's really the only way. Even a control F, or if I, search for, say, TSG 105, if this document had been below the infinite scroll that wouldn't appear yet, I wouldn't even be able to find it with a control F on the browser. And the last thing I'll mention here with this interface is that if I want to execute an action on a document, like say this document, I want to change the properties, I really have no way to do that from here. I can click on the document and of course be taken to Share's document view. So, but you can see here, this is taking over the entire screen. So I can come down here and edit the properties and see the properties, but now I've lost my context on the search results. So my only recourse here is to, either re-execute my search or use the browser's back button and get back to my search results, which works if it's something very simple and quick, but that can be annoying if I have to do that for, say, 10 documents to go back and forth. And especially annoying if I have to, beyond this one click, if I do a few more things, I might have to click back a few times, or, that might be beyond what a user's willing to do. So now I'm going to switch back to Open Content Management Suite to see how the search results look over here. And I'm actually going to switch over to look for underwriting documents because I can run a search that returns a bunch of results. So I'll just look for policy number 1212 and I'll get my results over here. And the first thing you notice here is that we always display the search results in the same view as the criteria. So if I need to make a change to this, and let's say I'm only looking for checks, I can do that very quickly without needing to jump between multiple screens. The other thing you'll notice that's immediately apparent is that since we are admin configured here, the administrator can configure certain columns to come back, and the administrator defines columns that appear by default. Can also define certain columns that are hidden, but the user can change those, and these are all can be based on custom defined metadata depending on the type. So we're not limited to just the out of the box, like creator and modify date. We can display things like policy number and policy year that might be very useful for the user when they're looking at a search results screen. For sorting, the user can just click any of these columns here and we'll sort. The user can also drag the columns around to reorder, and the system will remember those values for that particular user. So the next time I come in and run a search, it's going to remember the order that I have and which columns are displayed. So if I rerun, it's going to remember that. We also have facet style filtering as well. So if I come over here, I can filter and I can, check, if I want to see just tags or contract as well as correspondence, I can do that easily. And again, the administrator would define which attributes are available for filters. But we also have some quick filtering, which will filter on anything within the table. And it'll filter the table as I type. So I can just start typing report and it's going to find that. So it's finding it in the name as well as the tags over here. Or I can just start typing for policy year 2016 and see the table filter immediately. Now we do have a gallery type view as well. So I'm in the table view here, but I can also use this little camera icon to switch to a thumbnail gallery view, which shows the results in this sort of grid gallery view. So the last thing I'll talk about here is executing actions on the results. And while we can click on this and be taken to our open content case view, which we'll talk about in the next video of this series, but we can also execute actions directly from this view without losing context of our search results. So one thing that Share doesn't have is the ability to export the search results to Excel, which we can easily do here by checking the results. And then now I have my option to export results to Excel. So I can go ahead and do that. And that's just going to allow me to save this to an Excel spreadsheet. I'll just go ahead and cancel that. But we can also execute other actions. Maybe I want to come in here and change something in this document. I want to edit the properties. I can go ahead and do that and view and edit these properties. Let's say I want to also tag this as reports. I can go ahead and do that without losing my context within the search results. Well, that's it for this comparison video. Be sure to stay tuned to the TSG blog in the coming weeks. We'll be diving into more comparisons between Share and OCMS. Thanks for watching.